This video is to demonstrate how I differentiate between bagwork for combat sports to self-defense or combatives. So usually people plant a flag in one of those two areas, they're either one or the other, but to me, I think they both complement each other. And you know, I competed for a long time. When I stopped fighting, it wasn't a case of sitting there and saying, well, everything I've done for the past 15, 20 years, I need to throw away and start again. It was about tweaking it, making it more functional for the self-defense context. So if I move to bagwork, that's what I want to sort of discuss briefly. It's very different. So if I'm doing combat sports mode, number one, I'd probably have boxing gloves on or MMA gloves, as opposed to if I'm doing self-defense, I probably wouldn't have gloves on, which means punching palms and things like that sort of changes some context, but anyway. So if I'm here doing my bagwork for combat sports, you'll notice, number one, I'm already on my toes, I'm already in fight mode. So that's one really important point, is I'm already in fight mode. So I'm moving around. As I'm moving around, I'm circling, you know, my head's moving, I'm working my head movement, body movement, my hands are moving. I'm trying to set traps, you know, for the other person. It's a feeling out process where I'm trying to work out how they respond to different things that I do. And the thing about it as well is, you know, as I come in and I throw my shot, I'm also thinking about my entry and exit. So I'm thinking about how am I going to get in there without getting hit, you know, and how I get out without getting hit, as well as strategizing. You know, I'm seeing what the other person's doing. I'm throwing things out there for them to basically respond to, and then it might set up my strategy for later rounds and things like that. So I'm moving around. For me, personally, I'm 6'3" and I fought in the middleweight division, so I was very tall for my division. So as you could gather, my strategy was just basically to jab. You know, I'm moving around, I'm throwing my jabs, you know, I'm throwing front kicks, moving around, you know, like kicks, and I'm just moving around. So a typical, you know, bag combo for me would have been, you know, I'm moving around, I'm thinking, you know, throw a little jab, you know, move around, you know, in and out all the time, circling different angles and things like that. The other thing about it is I'm pacing myself. So when I say I'm pacing myself, I'm probably going at about 70–80% most of the time, because if you're fighting for long rounds, so you know, probably the longest round these days would be a 5-minute round in MMA, you can't go all out, you know, at the start. You've got to pace yourself, because you're not going to last 5 minutes. It's just science, you know. We can't maintain that output, you know, for a long period of time. So if we're talking self-defense or combatives, bagwork and combinations, almost all those things that I spoke about, you know, they don't correlate. So by that I mean I'm not ready. So by definition, self-defense is, you know, if someone, basically you're without a choice. So someone decides to attack you and you have no choice but to stand and fight. So if we look at that, I'm not in fight mode, I'm in general mode. I'm flat-footed, I'm standing there, my hands are up. And the way the combos differ is they have to be from various positions. Crazy thing is, you know, I fought my whole life as a southpaw, and now when I do combatives training, I'm more often finding myself in an orthodox stance. You know, I find it very interesting. So what I'll do instead is I'll start at that position. I'll be sitting there talking, having a conversation. Don't do this at Anytime Fitness or any of those gyms. You're going to look like an absolute nut job. You've seen the videos of people there talking to the bag, but I just adopt a general stance, like I'm not ready or whatever, and I'm talking. And if I have that peace of mind to be able to, under this duress, set myself up, which is what we train for and how we tweak it, I'll stand there, I'll get myself in a position to hit, you know, I might be waving my hands around, and then when it's go time, all of a sudden I have to go. And you know, it's all out assault for like 10 seconds, stop. So at that point, it is 100%. You're putting it all out there, maximum output, minimum time, because otherwise, like, that's more appropriate for self-defense. So there's no fainting and, you know, doing all this kind of stuff. It's just when it's go time, it's go time. And you're less concerned about what that other person's doing strategy-wise, and you're just unloading with everything you've got until the job's done. You know, if you don't believe me, watch. There's plenty of videos out there that show really good fighters struggling. I know myself, the hardest bit for me was to go from, you know, Mr. Jab leaning, you know, playing this kind of game, to then going, okay, I've blocked that shot, now I come in with murderous intent and keep going and going and going until the job's done. So that's one way that I change it, and it's something to think about.